When you have a football team or any sports team that you don't know a ton about, or at least less than we have in the past, then there are bound to be a couple of players that are sleepers, players that we don't know ahead of time are going to be big contributors to this football team. I think that the 2025 Georgia Bulldogs fall into this category a little bit. There's just so much new, there's so much transition, there's a lot that we have presumed about the Dogs, but truthfully, heading into this season, we know less about them than we knew about the previous few squads. Sleepers. So who are the sleepers on this Georgia football team? ESPN named their sleeper. I actually gave you my sleeper. I called him a secret weapon a few weeks ago. So you asked me the sleeper. I'd tell you wide receiver Jeremy Bell. All right, we'll stick to the offensive side of the ball for this exercise. I think that Jeremy Bell is a player that look, I'm not talking about a 1,000-yard receiver here, but I'm talking about a contributor, a guy that gets in there and gets catches and makes plays. I think that Jeremy Bell is the sleeper for that. We're talking about walk-on wide receiver, younger guy, freaky athlete. And the reason why I'm talking about him is because ESPN released their sleepers for the top 25 football teams. Who did they have for the Georgia Bulldogs? Running back Bo Walker. He's a true freshman. That is the guy that Mark Schlabach of ESPN tabbed Georgia's sleeper to be a contributor this season, to be a guy that makes an impact. I get it. I get why. I'm going to give you why I do think that Bo Walker could, and I'm going to give you why I don't think Bo Walker is going to be a real contributor to the football team, because I think that with him, you could definitely look at both sides of the argument, and I could plant my flag on either side. I feel like I'm more so going to be planting my side on the Bo Walker's not going to be a real impact player this year, and we could start with that. But I think that Jeremy Bell is my sleeper. So let's talk about Jeremy Bell. Let's talk about Bo Walker. Let's talk about if there's other guys. I think that there are a couple of guys on this Georgia offense that really don't get attention. Because where's all the attention? It's on Gunnar Stockton, of course. But it's on Nate Frazier and it's on Zachariah Branch. That's where the attention is for this Georgia offense. And where people say, hey, star power. And that's why we do this exercise, sleepers. It's not someone necessarily that people are talking about. But let's dive into these things. Ryan Curley from Dawg Post. Make sure you're going to dogpost.com. All of that. I'll wait a couple more minutes to pump what's going on over there, because I want to talk about this. Georgia had a wide receiver problem last year. They tried to mitigate that. They went and they got Zachariah Branch. They went and they got Noah Thomas. They're trying to bolster this wide receiver room compared to what it was last year. You got Kobe Young involved. I think there are multiple wide receivers that are sleepers on this Georgia football team. One is the deep sleeper, and that's Jeremy Bell, a guy that scored a touchdown on a beautiful slot fade route, beautiful touchdown throw from Gunnar Stockton at G-Day. He's the guy who went viral on social media recently for dunking over 4 of his teammates at some event. Yeah, he jumped over and dunked on those guys. He pushed off, but you still got to be a pretty talented athlete to do that. Christian Miller, a guy that's going to be a starting defensive lineman for the Georgia Bulldogs this season, he talked about, or he was asked in an interview on social media, who's the most talented player on this football team. His answer was Jeremy Bell. So I think that there is something there, right? I think that when you examine this Georgia wide receiver room, Dylan Bell, Zachariah Branch, Noah Thomas, Kobe Young, I think are kind of your first layer there, and players that are definitely going to play a lot. And then there are question marks. And I think Jeremy Bell falls into that second unit, and a guy that is going to fight for time. Okay, he got buzzed during spring practice, and he's obviously gotten buzzed, late spring, early summer, right? Since summer really just started about a week and a half ago. He's my sleeper. But another one of my sleepers, before I talk about Bo Walker, is London Humphreys. Really, 2 of them, London Humphreys and Sokovie White. I think that there are plenty of wide receivers on this football team that can contribute. Now, the thing is, they're not guys that are going to go for 500 yards, right? Because I think that there are just too many mouths to feed, and I think that's actually a good thing for Georgia this year. It gives them more flexibility, more leeway to really figure out their offense, and it just gives you more options for the quarterback, who's likely Gunnar Stockton, to throw the ball to. It gives them depth for injuries, but two guys who I think are also in that second layer of wide receivers with Jeremy Bell are Sokovie White, second-year guy, someone that is very talented, and he displayed that at GJ, and then a former transfer and a guy that's going into, year 3 in college football? London Humphreys from Vanderbilt, played for Georgia last year, had a touchdown in an opening game, and then didn't really make a huge impact throughout the rest of the year, missed a couple of games. He's tall, he's big, he's fast. He is the kind of guy you want to get the ball into his hands, and I think you will see Georgia try to do that. They have something that they didn't have last year, and that is versatility in their wide receiver room and pretty much in their offensive weaponry room. It just didn't exist in the way that it's going to for them this coming season. Now, let's talk about Bo Walker a little bit. Okay, so ESPN, they tabbed him. This is what they said. Walker wasn't the most heralded prospect in Georgia's most recent recruiting class, but he turned some heads in spring practice with his physical style and speed. Walker ran for more than 2K yards in high school as a junior before he transferred to a smaller private school for his senior year. Nate Frazier, an Illinois transfer, Josh McCray will probably be the top two backs entering preseason camp, but Walker has a chance to earn playing time. Would you expect anything less from a tailback named both Bo and Walker in the SEC, making a reference to Auburn's Bo Jackson and Georgia's Herschel Walker, legendary running backs? I liked what I saw from Bo Walker this spring. He's talented. He's kind of a bowling ball, low to the ground type of running back. Doesn't have the elite burst, but definitely has some burst. I think that the flag I'm probably planting, the side that I'm planting my flag in, is that I don't think that he fits the sleeper category, that's for sure. But I don't think that he's necessarily going to make a huge impact on this team or much at all. Yes, there is essentially an opening for Georgia's RB3 job. The assumption's Nate Frazier's RB1. And they went out and they got Illinois transfer Josh McCray. They got him to give the football to. They didn't bring him in to just be an extra body. Okay? This is a guy that's contributed at the Big Ten level, a guy that had 10 rushing touchdowns and over 600 yards last year to lead Illinois, a guy that can break tackles, a guy that could be a good goal line running back. They've got him. Roderick Robinson, who I think will probably earn some touches. There's Chauncey Bowens in the mix as well. There's Dwight Phillips Jr., who I think they use in some sort of gadget way. And there's Cash Jones, who's going to get receiving yards. The difference between a wide receiver and the running back is quite simple. You can have 3, 4, 5 receivers out there at the same time. You can rotate them a little bit easier. With the running back, it's not as simple, and you typically don't have more than 2 out there at once, and you typically don't have 2 out there at once. But Walker's a true freshman. Nate Frazier played as a true freshman last year out of necessity. All right, part of it was his skill set and his talent, but the main part of it was he played out of necessity. Georgia had running back problems. They had Roderick Robinson injured. They had Branson Robinson injured. They had Trevor Etienne injured and suspended for the opening game. They don't like to give the ball to Cash Jones out of the backfield. I think he had 4. Let me confirm that. 14 carries last year. I don't think that necessity exists the same way this season because they're a little bit more established at the running back position. And that would be part of the reason why Bo Walker plays. Now, Ryan, freshman running backs play all the time for Georgia. DeAndre Swift played. He was RB3 behind Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel. Sonny Michel and Nick Chubb played as freshmen. Todd Gurley played as freshmen. There were more openings for it, and they were supreme talents. I'm not saying Bo Walker's not talented. I'm just saying he's not those guys. And I think that's the type of running back that plays. Now, when you go to the other side of it, it's, hey, is there a clear-cut RB3? Do you trust Roderick Robinson is going to play? Cash Jones, is a particular type of running back that they use as a receiving back. Who's to say Chauncey Bowens is ahead of the curve over Bo Walker, right? There is the other side of this where, yeah, he got a lot of buzz. People really liked him as one of Georgia's best backs in spring practice. But we're talking about spring practice here. All right? There's going to be a fall camp, and this time fall camp, Josh McCray is going to be around. And that immediately is going to inhibit the ability for Bo Walker to get out onto the field. Why? Because Bo Walker a little bit is a power back. A little bit. Now, I don't want to put labels on him necessarily. I know I labeled Cash Jones as a receiving back, but the stats will tell you that. I just think that it's going to be difficult for Walker to get on the field. Not as difficult for Scobie White, Jeremy Bell, London Humphreys, those guys to get out there. Because Georgia's going to rotate these receivers a little bit more than they rotate these running backs. Personally, with my own eyes, what I saw was that Chauncey Bowens is good. Okay, he's entering year 2, and I think he could be the third running back, assuming that Frazier's 1 and McCray's 2. I don't think that's a crazy assumption. I suspect Dwight Phillips Jr. is going to get touches here and there. So I just don't know that they have as many touches to give to a Bo Walker. I know that I come on here, I debunk lists, I debunk these things. I like doing it. But this is how I actually feel, and I always come on here and tell you the truth. But to me, the truth is, I think that you should be looking at Georgia's wide receivers for sleepers, even though they went out and they got guys to be the starters. Versatility is king, and they've got it at that wide receiver room now. I don't think that you'll see as many running backs contribute. So, do you agree with me? Are you going to dogpost.com? These things are important to me, okay? And I appreciate you watching. Check out the links in the bio. Not the bio. Check out the links in the description down below, and I appreciate you.